Hey guys, what's going on? RetroGamer here, and today we're looking at the G350, a retro gaming handheld that looks and feels like the R36S, but the build quality is just a bit different. At first glance, if I didn't tell you what this handheld was, you would probably just think it's the R36S. It looks very similar. Like for example, both handhelds use the exact same chip, so performance between these two are going to be the same. You're not going to lose or gain anything from buying the G350 or the R36S. However, the one thing you will gain from the G350, unlike the R36S, is build quality. The build quality on this thing is something that instantly jumped out at me. I was genuinely impressed when I took it out of the box and started playing with it. I was like, man, this thing feels great. Nothing like the R36S. And I'm not saying anything bad about the R36S. It's been the king of budget handhelds for so many years now. But it feels cheap. Like, we can all be honest here. It does feel like a cheap handheld. This is about the same price, and yet has way nicer controls and buttons. It feels like Ambernick quality, but for a really cheap price, where we're looking at like 30 to 45 bucks for this thing. It's really nice. As I said, you're not really gaining anything much else because performance is the same across these two handhelds, but just the build quality alone like makes it, in my opinion, almost better. I mean, with these two handhelds, it's kind of like take your pick, which one do you prefer more? But I honestly would say that the G350 beats this handheld just because of how nice it feels. The D-pad, best D-pad, absolutely best D-pad. When I was talking about the R36S a little while ago, I was talking about how the D-pad was almost perfect, but like I felt it was just a little stiff. The G350 fixes all that. The buttons are really nice, and the D-pad is super soft. It is so nice to play with. It was very comfortable. After a while playing with the R36S, the D-pad kind of like dug into my thumb a little bit. This one, absolutely perfect. Loved it. All the controls on this thing feel great, and the screen, really nice. I think it's the same screen across a lot of these other like cheaper handhelds. The screen looks really nice. It's nice and big. I like it, and you know, you're not losing anything with performance, so it's kind of like take your pick. As I said, it's a really hard one to decide because like both handhelds are fine. If you can find one cheaper than the other, it doesn't really matter. But if you really want a nicer build quality, something that feels pretty premium but at the price of an R36S, this is probably the handheld to go for. Really nice. I'm very impressed with this handheld. I would definitely recommend it over the R36S, but like it's kind of like choose which one you want, you know? It's really hard because these are both identical, but the build qualities are just different enough for me to pick the G350 over the R36S. But honestly, with both of these being the same price, man, I don't know. What would you pick, the R36S or the G350? Let me know below. Thanks for watching, see you next time.